What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method podcast. One more time, as always, your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author, creator of Montana Method. This week, we have a very special guest. He has been dubbed the most viral man in Miami. That's saying something because everybody and their mother's moving here. Got my boy Michael Zurrati.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, bro. It's a pleasure. We're gonna get into how we met, all that stuff. It's an interesting story to say the least.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be right back after this intro. Elijah, kick it.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
Bro, you shut up in the James Bond outfit. I like
it. Yes, sir. You got to. You know what I mean?
Got some, yeah. You got swag. That's important, bro.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yep.
So, Mike, we met at Fresh and Fit. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were already a celebrity. You walked in with a camera dude. I was like, oh, all right, here we go. I guess is that Fresh's boy? Like, what's up? What's going on here?
No, that's my boy, and we just we got into entertainment a few months ago, and we're just going full force right now. And
nice.
It's going well for us, and we're trying to enjoy every step of the process.
Good stuff.
Staying true to ourselves, so not really stepping out and doing things that we're not comfortable with.
That's saying something because you
Yeah.
you do some pretty you take risks. I'll say that.
A lot of risks, yeah. The threshold is definitely up there for sure.
For sure, yeah. It's funny because walking in, I was like, man, you do some pretty shout out stuff sometimes, and people play a good sport, and you're like, yeah, but that's what you get to see, not what you don't get to see.
Exactly, yeah. You gotta be comfortable with the downs of the situations that you put yourself in. But some people are cool with it, doesn't bother them. I just happen to be one of those people, so.
And this is legit. Like, you walk up to people and you don't tell them what's going on. It's like spur of the moment, for real. That's not staged. Like, you're not warning them ahead of time.
No, nothing we do is staged. Usually the way it goes is Ethan will be roaming around Brickell just trying to get creative, shoot some content, especially on days where we don't really know what we're going to do. I'll have the Speedo on, and then Ethan will just be like, yeah, it's Speedo time, right? So we're having an off day. Ethan, it's kind of like the insurance policy.
Right.
Speedo time, and Ethan knows me. I'm a say less type of dude, so it's just Speedos, whether it's 32nd and 15th or across Moxie's, boom, Speedos, and then really no direction. That's what I like working with Ethan, is he allows me to be myself, and he's just, I look over at him, I'm like, anything you want me to hit, he's just, no, just be yourself. And I'll approach someone, and whatever I'm feeling in the moment, I'll just say it, all with good intentions.
Of course,
right?
Yeah, just to have fun.
Just putting smiles on people's faces. I think this day and age we're too serious,
way too serious, and too edgy, too wound up.
Exactly.
Too tight.
Yeah, and I could be one of those people as well sometimes, right? With work, but it's nice to be able to let loose and have an outlet that way.
For sure, I think so too. In a world where things get way too wound up, taken too seriously, it's nice to have a guy who just is out here to have fun.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep.
Bro, one of my favorite videos, hands down, is you in the Versace robe with the American Flag Speedo, and you're asking the chick, "What has Biden done for the country?"
Right.
And she's trying so hard not to not to stare at your junk, bro. It was so funny. She's like, you're standing like this, and she's like, "Yeah, so I can't think of one," and she's like looking at the roof.
Yeah, she.
Bro,
that was funny.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
But there's a lot of good moments with all the skits. And,
I bet.
We try to live in the moment when we do them.
Even some of the more like not on the street, like the ones you do with like, the chicks, like the one where you got the cleaning supplies. You're like, babe, you never do it. I thought. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Had me rolling, dude.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to be comfortable with you know, doing jokes on all types of
For sure.
people, you know, because
For
you're
sure,
always
bro.
gonna have people that are like, oh, misogynistic, this, that.
It's comedy, bro.
Yeah,
like, who gives a shit?
End of the
you
day,
know?
it's comedy. Yeah,
That's something I've said this before. Comedy saved this this country. This country was on the brink of like killing each other during the pandemic and all that stuff.
Yep.
And comedians were able to find a way to just make fun of everything. And some of that got canceled. Some of them got too big to get canceled, which is good. That's what you want.
Yeah,
Like Dave Chappelle is a great example, right? Like
Exactly,
he was like, this is ridiculous, and I'm gonna make fun of all you. You know.
right. Exactly. That's
Yeah,
the way
man.
it should be. You know.
I agree, 100%. Have you encountered some stuff where
Actually, I take that back. So there's a few things that I think, you know, people shouldn't cross.
Okay. Fair enough.
People with like mental disabilities.
Okay.
You know, you're at a stand-up comedy show. Someone's got a mental disability. You're a comedian. You want to poke fun at them. I'm kind of like,
I get you.
I don't know about how I feel about that. You know?
I think everybody has their one thing
Yeah.
they kind of don't want to touch. And
Yeah.
that's fair.
The guy's
get it.
purple, yellow, black, white. That's fine. But, you know, when it comes to mental health, you know, someone with autism or something, you know, leave
I
the
get
kid
you.
alone.
Yeah.
You know? But
What about the comedians who have like the disabilities? Like I've met comedians who have like cerebral palsy or some shit, and they make fun of themselves.
yeah, that's different.
That's
right?
pretty wild, right?
Yeah, that's a personal choice to enter that field.
Right.
So you're signing up for that. You know, the 33-year-old guy with autism that's just there because his mom and stepdad invited him.
I get you. Yeah,
let the kid just enjoy the show. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I get you. Did you just get into this cold turkey? Like you've never done any sort of entertainment in the past? Or
Always been a goof
Mm.
outside of work. I think people are just kind of now recognizing like, oh shit, like he can do all this,
Right.
right? Because I kind of, as much as I'm an extrovert, I've always been reserved, just focusing on, you know, scaling all my businesses and
right.
living in different places and stuff. So that was kind of my main focus. And then, yeah, it just came out of nowhere, really. Like 2 or 3 months ago, I was driving to a meeting, and a guy ran a red light, clipped me. I was driving my Lambo. I hydroplaned into McDonald's, hit a pole right in the
Wow.
drive-through, and you know, I check, make sure everything's okay, check on the guy, and my first phone call was to my videographers. You know, they pulled up within 15 minutes. We shot a commercial for one of my companies, and then cop got there. I was like, hey, I gotta go. So then I finished the day, go to the meeting, blah, 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 continue. And then the guys are like, hey, we're gonna post this. So they post it, starts going viral. And then they basically started talking me into like, yo, you're engineered differently. Like, it's not fucking normal to have someone just blow right through your Lambo. You get up and then immediately you skip shock, anger, sadness, and you go straight for solution. And what can I get out of this in the moment? So they're
Right.
like, yo, you're engineered differently. Like, let's get it popping, whatever it is. And then, you know, it just made sense. The first route would be like comedy, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how the comedy thing started. At first, you know, there was no direction. It was nothing. I just made a skit with my dog. My dog is like, he's terror. Like poops everywhere, runs around, little small Frenchie, you know. So I think one of the first skits was he took a poop on the kitchen table, and my cleaning lady, Judith, she's amazing. You know, I don't speak Spanish and stuff, so we did the little skit.
Where she can't, like, you're trying to understand what she's saying.
Yeah, and she's like telling me that he pooped on a table, and I'm kind of getting upset, like, hey, I told you got to shut all the doors. So, and then from there, it just went to, you know, just creativity of, I think one of the other skits was, Nick needed a tissue, or needed a tissue because he had like Nutella, aka poop, on his thing. So I was like, hey, let's have him walk. I'll rip his shirt and then give it to you. So we were at Moxie's. He asked for a tissue. Hey, can I have do you have a tissue, bro? And then I'm like, yeah, I got you. So I look over, boom, give it. Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. And
That's pretty
then,
wild, man.
boom, we were less like, hey, you got the juice, roll with it. And now we're sitting here, you know?
That's wild, man. You never know where life is going to take you.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like, 1 minute you're, living life and doing your thing, and the next minute you're just going viral in your underwear. It's life is funny, man. Life is funny.
I didn't see it.
I would assume no one really thinks that's ever gonna happen, or at least plans on it happening, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't really plan for it. But
does like close family and stuff see that kind of stuff? What do they tell you?
My mother is not a big fan.
I would assume so.
Yeah, she is not a big fan. So I'm trying to figure out a way to salvage that.
Right.
Because, eventually it might, hinder our relationship. But, they're not big fans. Let's just put it at that.
Where are your parents from here? Or are they immigrants?
They live in Cleveland.
Cleveland, okay.
Yeah, my parents are divorced, so.
Where are they from?
Lebanese.
Zurrati. I would have guessed Italian.
Yeah, so Zurrati was basically, in 2015, I launched a sports agency, and I was trying to think of a name that was kind of like sexy. So I came out with Zurrati, and then since then it just kind of took off.
Gotcha.
That's how everybody knows me by,
Okay, cool. Cleveland, huh?
Yep.
That's a hell of a climate change from Miami.
Absolutely, yeah. Lived in Cleveland, grew up in Cleveland, and then lived in Denver for about 8 years before moving back here, yeah.
Okay. Denver 8 years ago. So was that?
For 8 years.
Or for 8 years. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Was that at the height of like the marijuana boom and all that? Yeah,
so I think I moved there 2014 through 21, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I actually was heavily involved in the medical marijuana industry over here for years, a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Lasted. Yeah.
It's good money.
No, it's great money, and I had big plans, but you know how life goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know how life goes. It's it's funny. I'm laughing because we were on the balcony, and I was like, yeah, so. I used to be in this kind of business, and then, the FBI arrested me, and then everybody's like, wait, you're not going to, hold on, wait a second, you're going to glaze over that?
Wait, I didn't get that part.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I got indicted, I got arrested, and then all the promoter dudes, remember, they're like, wait, I guess you were talking to somebody. Wait, you're going to glaze over that? Like, wait, hold on.
Right.
Tell us.
Yeah, you can't just say that and move on. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like part of my brand. Yeah, I got arrested a few years ago over some really dumb shit that I did that had nothing to do with the medical marijuana industry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I got banned from working in healthcare, so I lost my business was healthcare related, so I couldn't be associated with it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went from like being on the verge of becoming a millionaire basically to being broke overnight, like one day to the next. Had to spend all my money on my lawyers.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost everything.
Well, now you're here and we're going up.
Yeah, so. Yeah, 100%. That's the only way I would have given that up. Like, it had to be taken from me. Like, I would have never, ever, willingly given all that up.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're not that type of dude.
I'm not.
Yeah. You go get it, and you're not. You're gonna have to fucking snatch it from me.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I could tell.
So the fact, thanks. So the fact that it got taken from me was a big deal because it allowed me to explore other things to do with my life.
Right.
And then I wrote my book, and that went well. And then I said, man, I want to do more. And then that's how all this.
That's why we're here today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so, I'm honored to be here, and.
No, of course, man. I appreciate you accepting the invite. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to hear a quick word from our first sponsor, and we'll be right back with more of Mr. Zurrati. Ladies and gentlemen, the familiar voice of your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., taking a quick detour to talk to you about the best jewelry shop on the internet, Gus Villa Jewelry. Let's be honest here, guys. Jewelers in Miami are super shady sometimes. I've even been ripped off once or twice by one of these self-proclaimed alchemists that ended up being these weirdos who sell you a bunch of stuff that make your neck and your fingers turn black. Let me tell you, after I met my boy, Gus Villa, he elevated my bling game. The Gus Villa team, these guys are more than just jewelers. These guys are magicians. magicians turning metal and stone into your next head turner. Trust me, these pieces shine so much you can see them from outer space. Head over to GusVillageJewelry.com, and because you're a Monty, that's right, part of the Montana Method crew, you can use the promo code Montana to snatch 5% off your order. You don't just get hooked up with some shine, you get to have some dough in your pocket. Double whammy. So guys, what are you waiting for? Elevate your jewelry game. Show the world what you got. You got some style, you got some bling, you're all blinged up. Come on back after you do that. We've got more Montana Method Madness waiting for you. Now back to the podcast. Has there ever been something where you actually didn't pursue it because it was like, all right, this is too far?
I don't know. Let's see. I don't think so.
No?
No.
Interesting.
I think Ethan thought when he brought up the diaper, wearing the diaper and brickle and running around in a scooter, I think he thought I was going to hesitate.
Right.
And when I Instacarted the diapers right away, he was like, "Oh, okay, okay, this guy's got the juice."
That's pretty wild.
So it's good to have an arsenal of weapons to be able to do anything.
Definitely,
you could put me in front of 2,500 kids at a high school, and you can see their body language change within the 15 minutes of me talking. Or you could put me in a diaper, you could put me in a room, negotiate multi-million-dollar contracts, so that versatility, I think it's just time to unleash. And I think that's where I'm at right now at 34. Scaled multiple businesses, did all the, everything I wanted to that and that route. And, I don't want to necessarily have kids right now. So it's time for entertainment and, but doing it the right way, right? So using my platform to eventually give back to causes that I care about, right? Mental health is a big, big, big one. So
that's dope, man.
Yep.
I had a realization recently. Most of the guys that I've ran into that are somewhat where I want to be in life, they're all in like their mid-30s.
Yeah.
Men don't really hit their stride until their mid-30s.
100%.
We learn a lot and goof around way too much in our 20s, and then we finally in our early 30s is when all right, man, I got to get my life straight. What do I want to do? This and that.
Yeah.
And then your mid-30s is when you combine it all. It's like all that wisdom with like putting it into practice.
Yep.
And then now you have experience, so it's like it becomes the perfect.
Exactly. You have the perfect recipe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's I think that's part of Andrew Tate's whole thing. Like, he did, when he was younger, he was a fighter and he was broke and he did all this shit, and then it kind of like all came together at the right time for him. And believe it or not, I don't agree with 100% of what he says, but as far as like what he says for like men and stuff like that, like hitting their stride, I agree with a lot of what he has to say. We're just built different. Like, we're very, how do you say? It's funny that they say women age like wine. I think we age like wine. Like, like once we pass a certain threshold, we only get better.
Yep. Yep. Our stock goes up. Yep.
Yeah. It's from like 33 to like 40 something.
Yeah.
That decade. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then most of the time when you meet a dude in his 40s, he's like financially better than he's ever been most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stock goes up for men, 100% for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't. You really were like the composed, quiet guy. I didn't know how to read you when we were over there at Fresh and Fit.
Yeah.
And it's funny that after I scrolled, I was like, why was this the quietest guy there? Like, this guy should have been the one like saying all the wild shit and trying to go viral, and because you're genuinely funny.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting that you were just like nah, I'm gonna play cool,
So I think outside of the skits, I'm just
I got
outside of the skits, I'm a chill dude. Not that during the skits I'm not being myself, because I am that goofy, sarcastic, witty banter. Let's get it poppin'. Let's make things like interesting. What are you working with down there?
Right.
So that is me, because I'm constantly like, I'm never, what I say is usually not what I mean.
I got you.
But at the end of the day, just I am a chill dude. Like, I'm chill. I'm not about the drama. I'm just gonna shoot it straight. If it's not part of like, my skits or whatever. So
interesting. And you said, is this accurate? You said you started doing this 6 weeks ago?
How long, Ethan? Like 2 months. 2 months ago.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, 2.5 months ago. Something like that. Yeah, it just.
And you were just like, I want to start doing this.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. I've succeeded at everything I've done. Literally everything. You know, when I graduated in accounting, and then got my master's, then law school, then I decided I wanted to be a sports agent. Everyone was like, "Yo, you're crazy, this and this," and I just went after it. I hammered every sports agency in the country. I'm talking back in camcorder days. I'm like editing, don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm shipping USBs, pitches of why you should hire me for your specific agency in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Like just every day, just hammering, boom, 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 until one spot in Denver was like, hey, thanks for the package. This is like 3 months of just boom, 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 literally in my mother's living room, staring at a camera, studying a sports agency every day, and just trying to finagle and finesse a pitch to them, right? Like, oh, hey, it looks like you guys have 13 clients. 3 of them don't have any brand deals or aren't making any sponsorship money. What's going on? I can come in and just like help you guys out, blah, blah, blah. You know? So got an opportunity from Denver. They thanked me. They just thanked me, right? And I'm like, hey, you guys have any internships? Can I come work for free? Nothing. She says, no, like, unfortunately, we're a small boutique firm. We keep it close-knit. We're not really blah, blah, blah. So I hammer her for the next 3 months every day. And then now she knows me as this kid from Cleveland, right? So one day I hit her up. This is like 2 or 3 months later. And she's like, listen, Michael, even if we were to do this, you have to be a student to be able to do like an internship, whatever. I was like, oh, man, that sucks. Immediately, I call Tri-C Community College in Cleveland. I sign up for an arts class. I go there, get an ID, picture taken, boom, fax it to her, or scan an email to her. And I give her a call, and I'm like, check your email. She checks her email. She's like, you're fucking crazy. And I was like, you said I need to be a student, right? She's like, listen, if you're ever in Denver, I'd love to meet you. I said, say less. My mother shows up from Bible study. We have dinner. My shit was already packed. I said, Mom, I'm going to Denver. Got a 6-figure job as a sports agent. She starts crying. I start crying. I had to tell her that I got a job, right? Even though, you know, I had like $500.
Right.
I pack my little BMW X5 and I start driving cross country. I get to like Kansas, I think. And I'm trying to figure out, like, I got $500. I just spent like $200 on gas and food to get here. And, you know, I don't even have a job. This is just me like pulling up. Like, think outside the box. So now I'm like thinking, oh, okay, my mom goes to this church in Cleveland. I know all these people. They all mess with each other across the country, right? It's like a Lebanese Maronite Catholic church. So I'm like, all right, let me just Google Lebanese Maronite in Denver. Get the number, call it. Secretary picks up. Hey, I'm Michael from Cleveland. Love to introduce myself to the priest. She says, say less, pull up. I said, great, I'll be there 8:02 ETA. She says, good. I get there. Introduce myself to the priest. Priest like, what brings you, my son? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, I know Father Peter in Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I go to church maybe twice a year, you know.
Right.
So we get it, we chop it up, and then by the end of the night, he was like, hey, I got to excuse myself. We got mass in the morning. I gotta go sleep. I'm like, it's nice meeting you, Father. He's like, we'll see you tomorrow, right, for mass so I can introduce you to everyone. I said, absolutely. I go to leave, and he stops me right there. He says, hey, where are you staying, by the way? And I said, hey, I don't know, Father. Like, I'm just going to look up a hotel. He says, nonsense. You'll stay here. We got a guest bedroom. I said, no, Father. Like, I don't want to, intrude or whatever. He said, I'm not asking. I was like, say less. Got all my shit, put it in the guest bedroom, stayed with the priest for a little under a year.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yep. Next day, help him with mass stuff. He introduces me to everyone. Monday morning, boom. I find my nicest pants that I have in my little duffel, boom, and I drive straight to Cherry Creek to that sports agency. First one there, 7:45 a.m. The college chick from Boulder that opens up isn't even there yet. So she pulls up at 8. She's like, hey, how can I help you? I'm like, hey, I'm here for Patrice. She's like, oh, Patrice doesn't show up till, I think, like 10:30 or 11 on Mondays. I said, that's fine. So I go grab breakfast, come back. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? Come back, 10:30. Go up to her. I'm like, hey, is Patrice here? She's like, yeah, she's here. I'm like, can you let her know I'm here? She's like, do you have an appointment? And I was like, yeah, I do actually. And she was like, okay. So she goes back there, tells her. I wait. Patrice comes out. She's like, how can I help you? I'm like, hey, this is Michael from Cleveland. She's like, shocked, right? She's like, you're fucking insane. You're out of your mind. I was like, hey, you said if I'm ever here to pull up.
To pull up, yeah.
So I'm just, she's like, you're crazy. So she had me wait in the conference room because she was doing some stuff, like something. Comes in the conference room, boom, boom, boom. I told her, listen, like, I'm not leaving this room without, like, we're doing something. I'll work for free. I'll do whatever. I'll fax for you for the next 3 months. I will add value to you in the next 7 days, and you will see it. Give me 7 days. She's like, I got to talk to Lamont. Lamont owns the firm. He's like one of the first African Americans to represent a Hall of Famer, and so he's like big time.
Right.
So they gave me a shot, and then, dude, I just like fucking took off. I did, like, I don't know if I should even be saying this, but some of the stuff that she was giving me, I didn't have access to the system. I didn't do shit. So I was just, while I was doing all the peasant work for her, I was just doing stuff that working to create a deal.
Right.
And long story short, within 3 months, I created a deal for one of their clients with Goodyear. He was a D-end, and I had some contacts at Goodyear because as an accountant, one of our clients was Goodyear, so I worked their year-end there. So I basically came up with a deal where for one of our D-ends, because when you're a D-end, you need like bend and traction to get to the yeah. So, and then they had just came out with a tire, so I reached out to Ashley over at Goodyear, and she connected me with the marketing people, and then we went back and forth. Mind you, I'm like not even a registered agent, and I'm like doing all this stuff and then going back and forth. I'm talking to the board in conference calls. Like literally from in the guest bedroom at the priest's house, I'm taking phone calls, like conference calls with like 50, that's 60, 70-year-old dudes like in the boardroom. Anyways, the deal, finally they sent the proposal, and now we're talking like big money, right? We're talking like 300-400 bands for the deal. So then I'm like, so now this is like 3 months into the internship, right. Unpaid, by the way, unpaid. And I go into Patrice's office. I'm like, Patrice, we need to talk. She's like, Michael, not today. Like, I don't have time. Like, just give me a sec. I'm like, we need to talk, like now. She's like, oh shit. So I sit down. I'm like, listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. Like A, B, C, D, E. She's like, what? You did what? Does Lamont know this? I'm like, no. Mind you, I've literally met Lamont maybe once or twice in the hallway. Dude doesn't even know like I exist. Right? Like these guys, I'm like nothing. So she's like, follow me. So I follow her. We go into Lamont's office. Lamont's like, on a conference call with the Seahawks, bitching the Seahawks out because one of our guys like, got fined for like $100,000 for not showing up, whatever. Like on some like, feet up on the thing,
smoking a cigar.
Yeah, intimidating. Yeah. So
like a broke kid from Cleveland chasing a dream. Yeah.
And then so he's got like those little AirPods just down. She walks in, she's like, Lamont. He's like, he does one of these. And I'm thinking like, oh shit, this is not gonna be good. And then so anyways, he turns around, he's like, what's going on? And then Patrice looks over at me. And I'll never forget this moment. She looks over at me. She's like, Michael, you got something to say to him? And I'm thinking like, oh, my God.
Balls in your court, buddy.
I'm like, oh, man, like this is a small boutique agency, right? Like this guy, this African-American attorney who built and got himself to where he's at now. And this random fucking kid from Cleveland now is operating under his brand, negotiating deals. Like this dude is gonna have me like
for breakfast,
dude. So I just mussed up because I'm pretty good at like musking up real in the moment. And hey, Lamont, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I did this, and this is where we're at right now. And he's like, huh? Who are you again? And I'm like, Michael, I'm an intern here, whatever. And he's like, you did what? You negotiated what? And I was like, listen, I'm just here. I know you're probably upset, but here's the proposal. This is from Goodyear, blah, blah, blah. And then he takes a look at it, and he's just like, you did this? And I was like, yeah. He was like, give me 10 minutes, come back in 10 minutes. So then he wasn't even mad. Like, so I bounce, and Patrice is like, yo, he's about to like lay you out. So I come back in 10 minutes, and it was strictly like straight business, dude. And then he closed the deal with them over the next like 7 days. I was there to watch. And then this is a dude that didn't even know I exist, like fucking would just walk straight past me.
Right.
Comes into the conference room like 2 or 3 days later. He's like, hey, what are you doing tonight for dinner? I was like, nothing. Like
eating a hungry man in a guest bedroom
I'm
at a
not
church.
doing anything. I'm just like in the guest bed and across the church,
Right.
and then we just have random people walk in for nonprofits and
Right.
a lot of action. But we go to dinner, and he makes me a garbage offer, and obviously I take it. That was the only garbage offer I've ever taken in my life.
Right.
And and then that was it, man. I took the offer, and next thing you know, I'm flying left and right for the agency. By then, I had become certified with the league as an agent, and I just became the guy they dispatched across the country to recruit and sign kids. So, and then at his level, he would just pull up for final meeting via FaceTime or something from his toilet or whatever. When you get to that level, you just have to be like, you just drop it like, oh, Barry Sanders, Jerome Bettis, Eddie George.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
all, you don't really have to say anything.
Say much.
Yeah. The younger crowd won't know those guys.
Won't know those guys, but yeah, I had an Eddie George. I had a Titans jersey back in the day.
Yeah.
It was
he was the man.
He was the man. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, back in the
Ohio State guy.
Bro, that is literally why I invite people on my podcast, for those insane stories that you just can't believe and you can't make up. You know what I mean? Like, I tell people I have a similar story. You know what I mean? Like, my podcast kept running while I was in prison. Like, I recorded. I found out I was gonna go to prison, and I said, "All right, how can I keep this going?" You know what I mean? And I recorded my podcast for 2 straight months, like just inviting people to my studio. Mind you, nobody knows what's going on except like my mother, my sister. None of these people know what's happening. So I go to prison in January, and my podcast keeps posting. No one knows.
That's crazy.
And I'm gone. I'm gone for 5 months. I get back, and I have like a clip going crazy on YouTube. So it's.
He had that bitch on schedule send.
I did, yeah. I had it all scheduled out for 8 months. It was still posting when I got back. So I tell people that like it's and look at everything that happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking about it this year. Like, I've gotten a lot done, and I've met a lot of different people, and it's all from life handed me something, and I figured it the fuck out. Like, arguably, prison is like the worst thing that can happen to a man. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, bro. It showed me that the only thing that can destroy you is you, bro.
100%.
You drove across the fucking country. Look at all the shit that happened miraculously, I guess you could say. Like, all the circumstances that came together mixed with your grit and your willingness to say, I will not be denied.
Yeah.
And it produced that result. You went from being some dude driving across country, not knowing what the fuck he was going to do, to being a registered sports agent with the NFL, like flying across the country. I went from like going to prison. No one was watching my podcast, bro. Nobody was watching this shit. Nobody gave a fuck. And I was like, all right, all I got to do is keep this consistent. I know at some point I'll either get lucky or something will happen. So how do I just make this happen? And I said, you know what? I'll figure this shit the fuck out. I hired an Indian to hire a bunch of clips, to edit a bunch of clips. That was way before I learned how to edit, and I just scheduled all of it. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
And it worked out, So.
Listen, bro, I'm going to tell you something that I tell a lot of people, okay? Anyone can do anything, okay? Anyone can do anything. It's attack. It's strategy, attack, and consistency. That's all it is.
100%.
All the stuff out there that's like complicates things and this. Find out what you're good at, what you're passionate about and what you like doing. Once you find that thing that incorporates those 3 different categories, you got the juice, and you have to have the juice. Then you just attack. You find the pieces and you attack. You brainstorm first on a 10,000-foot level, right? Before you just dive in there.
Right.
That's the number one mistake I see in young entrepreneurs. Boom, they dive in. I want to do crypto. They dive into crypto.
Yeah.
They make some money. They did. Next thing you know, 2 years later, they don't know what the fuck they're going to do, right? Because it's like they're riding waves. Great, you can ride the wave, but that's not going to be your main thing.
Right.
That's not what you're going to be defined as when you're
100%.
40, 45, 50, 55. Find what is going to define you first and what's going to get you to get up. Then you can do the things on the side. That's fine. You want to do crypto? Do crypto. Make some money. That's fine. But who are you? What are you going to do? Right? Because anybody can do crypto.
Right.
Right? I can literally hire someone overseas, a genius over in Pakistan, pay him $3,000 a month and tell him, listen, eat, breathe, drink this crypto crap, make me some money. You're telling me that guy who literally he'll do anything for $200 isn't gonna like do you know what I mean?
100%.
So it's just like it's just a little bit of patience and a little bit of like step outside the box for a minute, dude. Like step outside the box. You know? You're a good cook. Okay, great. You want to be a chef. Nice. So now you're just looking for different clients left and right. Like take a step back. What does that actually look like? Right? You're a great cook. Is it feasible to be a celebrity chef in Miami? Like, what's the supply demand?
Right.
Are you connected? Are you in those circles? Are you tapped in with those Michelin restaurants that have access to the celebrities like study the shit before you get into it? Because people that are making money are people that are studying supply demand, okay? But they're also studying the barrier to entry in that niche. Right? So they're looking at a niche, they're looking at the supply demand within a geographical area, right? If they're attracted to the profit margin for that specific niche, then okay, you get the green light. Now, next step. Where are you going to register your business? Right? Where are your competitors? What are their pricing? What's the startup costs? What's the overhead? Right? What are the taxes associated with that type of business, right? So study before you attack. You want to open up a tanning salon. Great. Most tanning salons fail. Sure, I would agree with that. But is there a way to find a successful tanning salon? Yeah. Get creative. Find that little pocket in the middle of Iowa where there's 2 community colleges and the girls and the guys, they need to get their GTL on. Pop something little, see what, right? Buy a little van that goes to the local college, pick up the girls, get the word out, give a few things, you know what I mean? So it's just like looking at supply demand and then profit margins. That's all it is, you know?
A long time ago, a mentor of mine told me some shit that I was just like, dude, wow, that's so true. He said, you're never nervous, you're only unprepared.
Yeah.
You're nervous when you're like, don't have the plan, don't know what to put in place, weren't ready for this, weren't ready for that. When you're ready for something and you know exactly what you're going to do, you're not nervous.
It's game over.
Exactly. 100%.
It's game over. And then, same thing with the skits. Like you had mentioned earlier, like, bro, aren't you ashamed or aren't you scared or, things of that nature? I'm not, because I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And it's not I don't give a fuck in a bad way. It's I don't give a fuck because I know who I am on the inside.
100%.
And I'm a good human. None of my skits would ever hurt anyone. And if anybody watching this, let us know if you feel offended by any of the skits. But that's not my intention, right? My intention is to create laughs. And sure, it is to create fame for me and my team. But I can guarantee you that the fame is going to be utilized for good causes. And that's my thing. So I'm not ashamed of telling people like, yeah, my team and I are going after fame. But you better believe that we're going to make a difference. even if it's a tiny difference, whether it's motivational speaking in front of the younger generation, kids that are going left and right and not really doing the right thing. They're moving product in the hood because mom or dad's on drugs and dad's in jail. You know, helping those kids like refocus and then building those guys up, because those guys are their future, right? That generation, the young boys and girls, they're our future, and it's not looking good, bro.
I agree, man. It's I read these old quotes from maybe ancient Greece, where it was all these old men complaining about kids. So I know that the generation prior is always gonna criticize like the newer generation.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think it is a bit different nowadays. These kids don't have a purpose. These kids don't have like a great war or a big enemy to go after and unite them. They don't have like a disease that they have to like figure out a cure for. They don't have this big calamity that they have to come together and figure out as a unit. You know what I mean? Purpose unites people. And the lack of purpose and how easy it is to basically live a life nowadays, I think, has weakened this generation.
Right.
And unfortunately, it is a cycle where you have difficulty, the people who rise up to solve those problems, then they create the easy times, and then those easy times create weak people, and then those weak people create the tough times again. It's a never-ending cycle, unfortunately. But that is what's happening nowadays, you know, especially, you know, with like the Gen Z kids, it's pretty wild, you know, like they create their own problems because they don't have problems to solve.
Yeah.
So it gives you this excess time to focus on like a bunch of bullshit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus having a purpose and being locked into what you really like, what fulfills you in life, like what fuels you, what really, what you wake up excited to do, which I think maybe you and I have found that instead of having that, you fulfill it with natural human nature, with other problems, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then what I would also add too, in my personal opinion, is these guys, the younger generation, they're growing up with a tablet, right? And this tablet is dangerous. It's great. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to us, but it's also dangerous, right? When you're flooded with so much information left and right at such a young age, you know, the brain's a sponge. You know, we both know this. You don't. It's too much, right? Sometimes too many options is too much, especially when you don't have a strong foundation. You know, I was having a conversation with Ethan the other day. He says, "Hey, bro, how do you like the Miami life since moving to Miami?" Right? I told him, "What Miami life? I don't see Miami life. I don't see anything. I see brand and what we're doing." I told Ethan, you and I can be in Sri Lanka and we would still be doing the same exact thing with the same mission. So, but that, to my point though, it's because I have a strong foundation, right? Right. You can present me with 6 different options right now of like, whatever it is. I'll know exactly what I want, or I'll know that I don't want any of them immediately, right? Because I have that foundation. But when you have the younger generation, kids that are growing up with tablets, right? Mom's at work, dad's at work, they're growing with the iPad, boom, iPhone, TV, this and that.
They got like 1,000 options. Yeah.
Well, not only that, there's no foundation.
Yep.
There's no getting your ass whooped, right? When I kicked my mom in the shin when I was 7 years old, and my grandfather got the belt and beat the fuck out of me for 20 minutes, and I was purple, and they took me out of school for a month. Ask me if I've ever looked at a female wrong since. Ask me if I ever looked at a female wrong since. Best lesson of my life.
100%. When
I went to my grandfather's funeral, God rest his soul, I brought that up as part of the speech. And even before that, I thanked my grandfather. I thank my grandfather all the time for that. Biggest lesson of my life. It shaped me.
There's no consequences to anything anymore. It's a big part of what's going on.
Not only it's just you're walking on eggshells, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're shopping and then there's a kid being completely disrespectful or screaming and this and the mom's not doing anything. It's like, come on, you know?
100%.
And it's like, if I say something, it's like, oh.
Who are you to tell me about my kid?
Right.
You know?
Well, sorry, your kid's running around screaming and, oh, by the way, he just touched me.
Yeah.
Like this is controversial. I don't mean to like go
Nah,
controversial,
hey,
but this
listen.
happened. I think Ethan, you were there, right? We were in Brickell, and I'm interviewing this lady. I was interviewing this lady, and her kid was like literally,
like trying to like grab you and stuff.
but like, yeah. And then I'm like, hey, are you gonna do something about this? And she was just like, ooh. We never posted that clip. They talked me out of it.
I would have. I definitely would.
We'll show it to you after.
That's
but
But yeah, man, it's the whole cancel culture thing, which, funny enough, it's actually like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've definitely noticed stuff I couldn't get away with like a year ago. I'm posting now, and it's not even being touched. It's
okay.
writing.
Okay.
So cancel culture is actually toning down, and I think it's because people have gotten tired of like, all right, man, can we just talk? Can we just have a conversation without being worried about, you know, someone getting offended or how people are going to react to what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of that shit, you know?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know anything about cancel culture, the whole thing.
I mean,
Ethan's starting to introduce me to it, but I don't know anything about it because I've always said what I wanted to say.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. Up until recently, apparently, like there's a few skits that are like, oh, no, you can't go there.
It's just a common thing. Like, people who get offended are quick to want to cancel people, you know? That's basically what cancel culture is. But it is toning down, I've noticed, for sure. Okay. It's not as bad as it used to. Like a year or two ago, like mid-pandemic, dude, you couldn't do anything. Yeah. You couldn't do anything. It sucked. But we've gotten better. It's gotten better. That's people like authenticity, bro. Yeah. You know, that's why I think my brand's going in the way it is. Definitely why your stuff pops off, because it's just, you know, you having fun.
I think that's what attracted me to your brand, is just briefly speaking with you. I could see the authenticity.
Thanks, man.
And it really it excited me to come today, because I like authentic people.
Definitely.
You know, it's easier. It's more organic for me.
Yes.
I get to be myself without you know.
That's so important, man. Being authentic. It's actually, I don't know if you're into kind of like energy in the universe and that kind of stuff, but the highest vibration a human can be is authentic. Yeah. That's from a vibrational frequency standpoint, authenticity is the highest you can go. Right. There's nothing higher than that. So as long as you're like, when people say be yourself, they don't really even understand how good that advice is. Yeah. You're literally emitting this energy out to the world that's like the purest, most positive energy you can put out when you're just being authentic, you know?
That makes sense, because, you know, when you're authentic, you're just more relaxed. The energy's there. You're more flexible. You're more 100%. Like, you know, loose. And I think going back to the podcast where I met you at Fresh and Fit, I think just me being authentic, I think it rubbed some of the people off. But, you know,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But
yo, not to do like a full pivot here, but I saw the replay. Oh my God, you killed it when you were like, "How many men are you sleeping with?" And we were all like, "Wait, what?" And she was like, none." Then you popped up.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like.
Why are you lying on live on YouTube? Come on.
Yeah, she said none. I was like, yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen it, we were playing this game where we were all holding balloons, and if you liked the girl, you held the balloon. If you didn't like it, you popped it. But go watch. It's somewhere on my channel. Go watch it. It's pretty fun. We're going to hear a quick word from our second sponsor, guys, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to bring you a word from our sponsor, Christian J. DePaz. Appreciate him for coming through. He offers a phenomenal service. Guys, you know I'm a big promoter of entrepreneurship, owning a company, starting a business, doing your own thing, and chasing your own dreams. But as the old saying goes, it takes money to make money. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Christian J. DePaz and what he does. He gets funding for new and startup businesses. Christian, tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you so much, bro, for giving us the opportunity to come inside your podcast and help more entrepreneurs start their own business or scale their current businesses. So what we do here at Secure Funding is that we'll help you acquire anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 at 0% interest rate business credit, so that you can once again start or scale your current business. So if you come here from our good friend Nelson, there's no other you're coming from the Montana Method Podcast, and we'll take extra good care of you. With that being said, brother, thank you so much for bringing us on.
Of course. What are you waiting for, guys? Click the link in the bio. Mike, I appreciate you coming through, man. This has been amazing.
Appreciate it.
I love podcasting because it gives me a chance. First off, it's a great networking tool, right? I get to meet all kinds of people, all walks of life. But it gives me a chance to really like learn about people and hear about dope stories, man.
Yeah.
I think I told you when we met, when you asked me what the podcast was about. This is what it's about. It's about putting really, really cool stories out there that no one's really ever heard.
Yeah.
So I think we did that today. You have a real cool story, man. I think this is maybe the beginning of a cool friendship.
Absolutely.
And we'll probably do a part 2 soon.
Yeah.
So
I'm feeling part 2. Yeah. There's way too much that you guys gotta watch part 2.
Definitely.
There's a lot of juice.
So, brother, I typically wrap up the podcast asking 3 questions. So the first question is, what inspires you?
I want to say my mother.
Mm.
You know, she just what she went through her whole life, and now it's just time for me to kind of give back. You know.
Are you an only child?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
There's some. Are you second generation or first generation American?
I was born here.
You were born here.
Yeah.
Your parents born here?
No.
They're from Lebanon.
Yeah.
There's some about immigrant kids, like the sons of immigrants. I've noticed whether you're Lebanese, Cuban, Nicaraguan, Nigerian, wherever you're from, it's some about like immigrant parents. They raise their kids different.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what culture. I've met, dude, Russian kids, Japanese kids, Mexican kids, Cuban kids, like kids from that their parents are from everywhere, and all of us are. We have a different. Our morals are different. Ethically, we behave differently. We have a different appreciation for life and this country specifically. It's yeah, man. So I feel you on that. My mom's done a lot for me. You know, it's almost too much. Like
Yeah.
you try to list out all the shit your mom did for you as a kid, and it's like wild. You know.
Crazy. The sacrifices that they make. You know, but sometimes you gotta let the bird fly. So it's hard the combination of like flying, but also, you know, keeping their feelings into consideration with the
100%.
traditional mindset. You know,
Yeah.
especially with me getting into entertainment. So it's a little tricky right now. But
A little tradition is not bad.
yeah,
I think,
we'll
especially in this world that's just lost. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, man, immigrant kids. That's one day I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get like a whole. I'm gonna call it like the round table or something. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. But I want to get like a kid like me, like you, and maybe like an African kid or something. Like I want to get all the kids that have like immigrant parents and talk about all that. And
that would be dope.
that'd be-
Actually,
yeah,
just
yeah,
to
yeah.
see the kind of the correlation between.
I'm telling you, I see it all the time, dude. It's something about people who move to this country and have children here. They have a traditional view of life, but they also understand like I came from where I came from to this amazing place, and my child gets to be born here, but I still get to show him where he's from, and at the same time he gets to experience life in a different way. Like they just have a specific way of seeing life that's it's bar none. It's like nothing else. Second question, bro. What's next for you?
Right now, just going full force entertainment, you know, and then growing Sedation Inc. So we do large tattoos under general anesthesia. We have a surgical center and a team of anesthesiologists, and I handpick the top tattoo artists in South Florida for different projects. So we essentially sedation. So at our surgical center, no pain, all in one day, any body part that you want. So full back, leg sleeve, all in one day, obviously under proper medical supervision.
Right.
And we're the only one that's licensed as a surgical center and a tattoo establishment in Florida. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's a cool. Is there anything like that across the country? I've never heard of anything.
there's one
like
place in LA
that.
that's doing it, and then we're the only other ones.
Nice.
Yeah,
I saw some of the tattoos you guys do. That it looks pretty sick,
yeah,
man.
pretty dope, man.
What's the turnaround time to recover off of one of those things?
You know, people ask me that all the time. I interview people the next day. Our clients, I show up to the hotel and they are fine.
Wow.
Literally, if you go on all our platforms, all our clients leave their Instagrams. We put them up there. Anyone can reach out to them. The interviews are all on the pages, and you know, it's just
That's sick.
the aftercare, the pain management aftercare program that we have is second to none. It's just unbelievable. The anesthesiologist, the dosage that they use during the procedure, based on the client's BMI and so on and so forth, reduces the uncomfortableness post-procedure. And then obviously also the tattoo stuff that we do second skin. So we'll put a second layer of skin on the area that we tattooed, and that limits the inflammation post.
Wow.
And then obviously the prescription medicine that the doctor prescribes for our clients for the period of 3 to 4 days. But other than that, it's just regular tattoo recovery.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anything like that. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I try to do my best to get people's feedback in the comments or people reaching out and their concerns. And every time I try to address those concerns. In other words, we had some clients that are like, oh, he's going to, this is all nice, but he's going to be crying for 2 weeks after. I made it a priority to go live and interview that client and go live with them consistently over the period of a week or two so that everybody can kind of see.
That's cool, man. That's some revolutionary stuff, I'll tell you that much.
It is. So we're going to the top with it. And, we've had a few producers reach out to us. They are thinking about doing a TV show
Dope.
based on Sedation Inc. So we're kind of in talks with that, but that's kind of like a long-term thing. And there's no rush on that. Right
That's
now
awesome.
I'm just focusing on, quality and efficiency and just giving out the best product ever,
Sick.
And I think as an entrepreneur, the biggest recipe that you can have is as long as you are confident in your product and you're adding value and you truly believe in your product, the sale is organic. It's not even a sale, it's a conversation.
Right.
And that's, I think, the biggest thing about my brand is I love it so much and I believe in it so much that, one, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would go under in a heartbeat, seen with my medical staff and my artists. But two, just knowing and believing that I will be adding value to that person who struggles with needle phobia or anxiety or is a CEO of a company and barely has time to see his kids. Or if it's someone who just enjoys art but is anxious every time they enter a tattoo parlor. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So that mindset that, you have to endure the pain to be able to get the tattoo and things of that, that's obsolete. The industry is shifting towards what I'm doing, and I just beat it to the punch. But I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be the best at it and provide value. And as soon as I feel like I'm not providing that value that I truly believe in, I'm going to tweak it so it's that consistently delivering that product that I'm talking about. So
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Definitely, definitely have a quality product. And you're 100% right. If the entrepreneur focuses on the service they provide, on the product they provide, and make it the best that they can, then everything else is easy. You know?
Yeah, everything. It's organic, right?
100%.
You're a car salesman. I walk in. You try to sell me on the Mustang, even though you haven't asked me that I have a wife and 4 kids.
Right.
And you're pushing the Mustang. You're already turning me off.
100%.
Sometimes listen, right?
Right.
For all the people out there that have a business right now and they're kind of struggling to figure out, okay, how do I scale? I'm not making any money. Take a step back and look at it from a third-party view. What are we doing here? Can I cut costs? Can I, add this product? Is there, a lot of people also with sales, we're always focused on getting more people, right? More customers. But at the end of the day, for example, you might be focused on, okay, who's going to be my next guest, right? Which is the normal thing to do. I want to keep the hype going. I had a good guest. People liked it. Who can I get? I need now, right? But sometimes we got to take a step back. We have access to those guys.
Right.
Your current clients. So we always forget as business owners is we provided such a great service for this client. He's going to be a repeat client. So let's focus on him because guess what? You treat him like royalty, his word's going to spread organically within his circle, right? Ethan and I talk about this all the time. There's 8 billion people on the world. You and I are nothing. We're a pin drop. 8 billion people in the world. It's crazy. I can't even fathom that, you know?
100%.
And we're focused on 150,000 people within a 30-mile radius.
That's a good way to put it. It's perspective. Perspective has to be my favorite word in the English language, because it's the one word that describes how everything can change for you simply by looking at something a different way.
Yeah.
It's
And, you know, it's
powerful.
been a game changer for me. It's
Mm.
a game changer for me because it allows me to have no fear,
Mm.
right? I come up to you, I introduce myself. You're not into it. I'm on to the next thing. You're already a past thought because you didn't give me a shot to get to know me.
Mm.
But guess what? There's a lot of other people out there.
100%.
So when I have friends who are crying and this girl, this and this, or chasing one girl who, even though they're doing everything the right way and showing the girl that they care about her and want to do the right, she's not into you, bro. But guess what? There's 3 million other girls that would love to go on a date with you.
Mm.
And it's not going to happen overnight. I can guarantee you that. But if you can get to a point where you're comfortable with rejection, that's when you'll find the girl, because then it's seamless.
100%.
You have to be comfortable with rejection. You have to be comfortable with change.
Mm.
If anything, you embrace that shit, because then you can pivot and it gives you an opportunity to challenge yourself, because you're forced to challenge yourself, and then you'll learn something, whereas you wouldn't have learned. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how you grow.
A while back, I read a book that, it was so good. It was called Overcoming Rejection Will Make You Rich.
Yeah.
Such a good book. And it was true. He was basically talking about how he went through his whole process of getting rejected over and over and over again. And just through getting comfortable, the more he got comfortable within rejection, and the more rejection he was willing to take on, the more money he made.
Yeah.
It's
Bro,
sick.
I love that shit. Are you kidding me?
That's
I
awesome.
love that shit. Crash my Lambo, great. Opportunity for commercial.
Yeah. Sick,
Fuck
bro.
yeah.
Sick.
What am I going to sit there and, oh my God, call my friend? Like people who like something happens to them and then first thing they do, they cry, oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I got a flat tire. Like, okay, you got a flat tire, figure it out, and then keep it moving. Like no one wants, we live in a day and age, no one wants to be bothered by your bullshit,
Yeah.
because everyone else has bullshit.
Everyone has shit they got to deal with, and you're not special.
You're not special, bro.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%, man.
So
I'm big on that, dude. Like people who whine and complain, and then it's like, oh, why does this have to happen to me? It's like, bro, that happens to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, move on with your life. Like you're not special. You don't deal with. There's humanity's been around for I don't know how long, hundreds of thousands of years or whatever it is. You seriously think you're dealing with an issue that someone before you hasn't dealt with? You know what I mean? Like,
100%, man.
it's just, and then that's actually a good segue to the final question. How do you want to be remembered?
Authentic hard worker who wanted to narration.
That's sick. We'll end it with that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, that was Mr. Michael Zurrati.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Appreciate you coming through, bro.
I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. We definitely got to do a
Yeah.
part 2. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
do some content. Who knows? We'll
Yeah,
see.
you never know. Maybe we'll shoot a skit here.
Alrighty, guys. So that was another episode of Montana Method Podcast. Your host, Nelson Rodriguez, special guest Michael Zurrati. As always, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And if you are not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, my friends. Catch you on the next one. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags